Hello fellow Rangers, welcome back to another video. Today we're back once again on the Spitfire build. It is episode 3 of the Spitfire build, or the Spitfire Mk1a, as we've done one in the past. So yes, this is, I've managed to find sort of a history on this aircraft, but I haven't really been able to find much on it. So if anyone out there who watches this video knows any information or knows how to get it, then either please put it in the comment section below or email me to the email on the channel email, which is in the description below. So pretty much that's what the side of the Spitfire looks like, and the registration number is Papa 9386. I'll make sure it'll come up on the screen, and so that'll make life easier. So right, lovely little kit, very good aircraft. The only thing I noticed, which I didn't film, and don't worry, as much as my air fresh, was the fuselage wouldn't come together properly. So when it came time to actually fit in the canopy, there was gaps on each side, so I had to use a little bit of filler to get rid of those gaps. But other than that, I've been able to get it to look as good as I can, as you can see. So right, in a moment we'll have a brief thing of the Spitfire Mk1a. We're not going to go through throughout the entire history of the Spitfire, simply because the fact that that's fair enough. It's an interesting service the Spitfire did have from 1938 all the way to 1952. Don't quote me on the beginning year of when the IAF first had the Spitfire, because I am aware that when the Supermarine did receive the order for the Spitfire, Mitchell sadly passed not long after. So Reginald Joseph Mitchell, the creator, the designer of the Spitfire, whom sadly would never see and find out how famous his aircraft truly became. And it still makes people happy even to this day, which is even after all this many years since the Spitfire first flew, to nowadays people still, that's the one aircraft that if you speak to a non-enthusiast, that's the one aircraft that everyone keeps talking about. They think of straight away regarding World War II. Oh, the Spitfire. So yes, so right, we will move on to the history of the Spitfire, and then we'll do the history of what I've managed to find is also linked in with the little bit of history of the pilot that did fly this aircraft for a little while. Or from what I've been able to find out so far, sorry, it is going to ruin it a little bit. It was destroyed in an accident. Details of that I'm sadly not able to give you, but I'll still do the history segment and as well anyway of the aircraft. So we'll crack on with the history of the Spitfire first, of the Mk1a, and then we'll move on straight to the history of the information that we know of the pilot and of our Spitfire. So let's crack on.
The Supermarine Spitfire was one of the world's most successful aircraft lines, with over 20,000 built across its 24 marks and numerous subvariants. One of the most famous British WW2-era aircraft, its distinctive thin, elliptical wings allowed it a greater aerodynamic top speed than most of its contemporaries, while its adaptable airframe allowed the basic design to be continually upgraded into the 1950s. The prototype first flew on the 5th of March 1936, 4 months after the maiden flight of the contemporary Hawker Hurricane, and the plane was quickly ordered into mass production upon demonstration of its capabilities. However, delays in initiating production lines for the aircraft meant that the first production models were only completed by mid-1938. Despite arguably being less important than its Hurricane counterpart, the Spitfire quickly became an icon of the war, particularly with its performance against the Luftwaffe during the Battle of Britain and beyond. While the majority of Spitfires participating in the Battle of Britain were of the Mk1a variant, most would be replaced by the Mk2 by the end of 1940. Again, since the start of the open beta test, the Spitfire Mk1a is equipped with a Rolls-Royce Merlin 3 engine, producing 1,030 horsepower, coupled with its light and sleek design. The Spitfire has excellent climb rate and is relatively fast, but its main strength is the extremely tight turn radius. This allows the pilot to confidently draw any opponent into a turning engagement and emerge victorious, bar the occasional biplane and Japanese fighters against which the superior speed and energy characteristics of the aircraft can be utilized. However, the key drawback of the Spitfire Mk1a is the mediocre armament. While the 8 Browning machine guns present great volume of fire, they are rather weak and quite limited by convergence due to their spread-out nature across the wings, and thus may require a long time on target to successfully down an opponent. Brian Sandy Lane flew with the number 19 Squadron during the Dunkirk evacuation and was awarded a DFC. On September 7, 1940, Lane shot down a Bf-110 while flying P-9386 QVK, and on the 9th and 11th claimed a Bf-110 and a He-111 while being flown by FLT Lieutenant Peter Lawson. Later that month, Lane was promoted to squadron leader. The aircraft was transferred and eventually was destroyed in an accident in 1944. On December 13, 1942, Lane pursued 2 FW-190s Brian John Edward Sandy Lane DFC. The 18th of June 1917 to the 13th of December 1942, was a fighter pilot and flying ace of the Royal Air Force (RAF) during the Second World War. He also wrote the book Spitfire, an account of his experiences as a fighter pilot during the Battle of Britain. Born in Harrogate, Lane joined the RAF in 1936 and was posted to number 66 Squadron when his training was completed. Days after the Second World War broke out, he was transferred to number 19 Squadron as a flight commander. Flying the Supermarine Spitfire fighter, he shot down a number of German aircraft during sorties to support the evacuation of the British Expeditionary Force from Dunkirk during the period late May to early June 1940. He also briefly commanded the squadron during this time. Awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross in July, he became the squadron's permanent commander 2 months later, by which time it was engaged in the Battle of Britain. He claimed further aerial victories during the aerial campaign over England. He was on staff duties for a year from mid-1941, during which time he wrote Spitfire, published under a pseudonym in 1942. He returned to operations with command of No. 167 Squadron in late 1942. He went missing on a sortie to Holland on 13 December and was never seen again.
A shame about Brian, and sadly a lot of very good men sadly lost their lives during World War II, and we at the Lone Ranger Motoring YouTube channel honour and respect all of them. The men and women who fought so that we got our freedom today. This is another reason why I like doing these videos, because they may not get many views sometimes, but it's my way of honouring the ones who did something for us so that we got our freedom today. And beautiful aircraft like this as well. It's not just the men and women, it's also the equipment was used as well. Well, they played a massive part. Obviously, I know they're not got any. They're not like humans or anything like that, but it's still the fact that they did a part during that war. So, and all of them. So, thank you. Right, fellow Rangers, that is it now for the Spitfire Mk1a. Good kit, really enjoyed building it. I've been able to get it so that I can spin the propeller still. Well, I am thinking about possibly getting another Spitfire at some point and trying to figure out a way to get a motor in here and have it spin. I'm not going to say anything yet, just in case it may not happen. But if I can figure out a way of doing it and powering it up, then I'll see what I can do. I'm not promising nothing, it's just an idea at the moment. And anyway, that was our Mk1 Spitfire. Mk1a, sorry. One thing I'd like to do, but I always like to do on the history video of each build is, if you've been with the channel long enough and you've watched this much on the channel long enough, is on this part of the video is I like to mention a charity. I'm not officially affiliated with them, but I have been given full permission to use the logo in my videos, and I'm allowed to talk about them. It's Models for Heroes. Yes, it's Models for Heroes. It's a charity that is aimed to help British veterans of any serving British servicemen and women who are either currently serving or retired, who are currently suffering with either mental health problems, PTSD, stuff like that. I'm not going to go into it because all of it too much, simply because I don't understand a lot of it, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I do when I don't. They help them veterans through the aid of model kits. And there's reason why I like this charity. It's not like every other charity. It's called Give Money, Give Money. No, it's nothing like. It's not like that. There is 3 ways you can support them. 1, yes, financially, you can donate whatever you can afford to them. 2, let's say for example you got a model kit. I know we've just finished this one, but for example, you got a model kit, you're not going to build it, you're given it, but you know for a fact you're never going to build it. So rather than it gather dust and do nothing on your shelf, you can donate this model kit to them. Alternatively, if you, like myself, you build your kits because you do enjoy them, there's a third option, only with Airfix. If you're aware of Airfix has their own model club, and on each Airfix kit there is tokens, flying hour tokens. So depending on the size of the kit, depends on what tokens you get. It's like this one, for example, is a 1 token one, whereas this swordfish, yeah, sure, once I find the token, yes, this swordfish is a 2 token, and so on. It depends on the size of the kit in question, because they don't just do it on their flying aircraft kits. I mean, they do it in all their kits. So if you are not part of that Airfix club, and rather than them tokens go in the bin, cut the tokens out and send it to them, and they can redeem them and get a model kit. That's what I'm currently doing. I got something like 15 tokens, so I'm going to wait till I get to something like 20, and then I'm going to send them all off to Models for Heroes, and a little note from us saying thank you very much. That's as I hope to think that you, my fellow Rangers, support all British veterans, and to ensure that we got our freedom today. Right. Last but not least, as you normally know, I leave it until this part of the history video, which is essentially the last bit. I give my father an opportunity to pick which model next, rather than me pick them, because I might just pick one which it's just easy to get to, or something like that. Rather than that, I let my father pick. So the next aircraft that my father has picked is actually one I just sort of just showed a moment ago, and that is this. The Fairley Swordfish Mk1 172 scale. Yes, this is definitely going to be the one, and regarding the history of this one, we already know what happened to it. Sneak preview is essentially part of the famous legendary Channel Dash or Operation Fuller. But we will go into more detail on its history video. We will discuss everything regarding that and the aircraft, and of course the pilot who sadly did not survive. So if you have enjoyed today's video, please put a like on it, as it would be very much appreciated. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel, as that would also be very, very much appreciated. Also, I've given myself a mini goal to try to hit 750 before Christmas. So if we can make it, yay. If not, that's the way it goes. So obviously with the likes on the videos, that shows me essentially that you're enjoying the videos. So that would be so much appreciated. But anyway, till the next time, my fellow Rangers, I hope you all take care. Keep doing what you enjoy doing. And this is Lone Ranger, signing out.